Hello, my name is Patricia Mueller, and I'm a fourth-year interpreting student here at RIT NTID. I'm a white hearing woman sitting in front of a gray background. I have blonde hair in a braid, and I'm wearing a black long-sleeve shirt. My research is focused on deaf high school students and their ability to self-advocate. Some examples of this includes being in a classroom and the teacher is giving a lecture but the student doesn't understand the information. If they raise their hand and ask for clarification, this is self-advocating. Next, if the student has a hard time seeing the board and the interpreter, they may request for the interpreter to move, and now they can see both easily. The last example includes having a group discussion when people are overlapping and talking at the same time. The student may say, "Can you please talk one at a time for the interpreter?" This is called turn taking. And these are all examples of self-advocating. Next, we'll discuss the educational team for the deaf student. This includes the teacher of the deaf, or TOD, hearing interpreters, and teachers. I'm focusing on their personality types and how it impacts the deaf student's ability to self-advocate. Next, we'll be discussing the timeline regarding residential schools and mainstream schools. Prior to 1974, many deaf students attended residential schools. From 1974 to 1984, we can see that there was a decrease at residential schools of 18.3%. This means that more students started going to mainstream settings. From 1985 to 1990, we see a shift again. There is a total of 5% increase for students attending mainstream settings, making 67% attending mainstream and 33% at residential schools. 1990 is an important year in deaf education history. Prior to this time, mainstream settings used the act called the Education for All Handicapped Children Act of 1975. In 1990, we see a new change with the name Individuals with Disabilities Education Act of 1990, also known as IDEA. This is important to note because many of the students attending mainstream settings need services provided through this act, like having an interpreter. If the student is mainstreamed, they will have equal access to education through these services. It's also important to recognize that more than half of the students attending a mainstream school don't have deaf peers attending school with them. In 2018, about 86% of students attended mainstream schools. Meanwhile, 14% attended residential schools. It is crucial for the students that are mainstream to develop their self-advocacy skills. Now I'll be discussing deaf students and their ability to self-advocate. Levinson, 2004, emphasizes students and their ability to self-advocate. To do this, it requires 3 things. First is knowing and understanding their rights. Next is communicating their needs successfully. Third, they can request accommodations. In 2018, Glover explains how a teacher can teach effectively. This includes using questions during a classroom discussion. Now the students can think, raise their hand, and participate. Students can also have a discussion about classroom experiences. The third piece of advice is to make learning an open process and to have open communication. In 2015, Beal, Alvarez, and Sheets published explaining that effective communication includes matching the student's language preferences. Cling 2000 wants students to be aware of their rights. Next, moving on to personality, Bontempo explains in 2014 that interpreter training programs, or ITPs, can see personality from the beginning and predict job performance. Once they recognize the student's personality traits, they can picture what their future work will look like. In 1962, Myers published that tests can increase awareness and influence judgments. When we look over our results, we can understand our personality and even apply this to our future assignments. Now we can match our consumers and their needs. As seen on the slide, I'm researching how the different personality types of the educational team affect the high school deaf students' self-advocacy skills. My methodology includes recruiting 10 interpreting teams that work in high schools around New York from the RID website. I will email the 10 educational teams the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator test. Each member of the team will take a test, and I'll also conduct an interview for each member. I want these interviews to be one-on-one so I can discuss personal questions with them. I'm curious to hear their opinion related to their personality traits, and also if they believe their student has high self-advocacy skills or a weak set of self-advocacy skills. After receiving the MBTI results, I will read this and analyze. I predict that there will be many different personality types that show up on the results. It will be interesting to find out if the deaf consumers and their educational teams have clashing personality types. I'm wondering if this will lead to less self-advocacy skills. Bontempo 2014 shares that the team should be open-minded. After completing the personality test, the team should make a plan on how to improve team dynamics. The reason behind conducting the study is wanting to educate future interpreters coming into the field. After reading the results, they can keep this in the back of their mind when they go to future assignments. Once they arrive, they can take their personality test and match to other people like the consumers. The next two slides include my references.